Welcome to the Simply His Coffee Shop. We're so excited to be here. It has been a while since the three of us have actually been on set together. It's been a little bit crazy the last couple of months. Well, actually, the last year or so has been a little bit
very unpredictable.
Very unpredictable.
Great word.
So we thought we would just kind of give you all a life update and keep it a little bit shorter today because so much has been happening and so much has been going on. All of our responsibilities have semi-shifted and it's just been kind of crazy, and things in our own personal lives have even shifted and changed. And so, Charisse.
Oh, great.
We'll start with you.
Good
Get
times.
you over with. No,
Yeah.
No, she's a great.
That's funny.
She's a great note to start with.
No, I know. Well, she's had...
It's been challenging.
It has been challenging because your job in the company, though, has seemed like it's gotten even more overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then you even had an incident this summer
Yeah, good times.
that put you back a little bit with your foot. So tell us about that.
Yeah.
Start there, and then
Totally
we'll go to other stuff.
Totally non-related to work, which really surprised me.
I know, right?
Because as much as she's involved in, you would think,
If
but
I'm
not.
gonna get hurt.
She was having a happy day when all of a sudden,
thought.
and you can take it from
We
here.
thought.
You thought.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I mean, every year our little town has what's called the Broiler Fest, and I think this year was the 75th year.
Something like that.
Something
yeah,
like that.
75th or 76th.
Yeah, it was.
something
It's
like
a big.
that.
It was a big number. But my dad is a part of a band, and they play every year down here because the lead singer and a couple of the guys are from here. So they, they travel and do shows. But this was just kind of a hometown thing. So Daddy was supposed to play it at 6, and so we got here probably about 5:30, parked. And then
Because there's no parking.
There's absolutely-
the entire town
there's no
basically
parking.
shuts down.
And for the record, I will confess that we do have staff because of our liability insurance with our properties. I have staff mark off our property so that nobody can park on it.
Right.
But I have a private parking spot on our property for the Broiler Festival. Shh. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Dustin. Anyway, so we had parked and we walked across the street with our chairs, put our chairs down. Our daughter came and she and I were just going to walk the little vendor booths,
Right.
and little crafts and all the stuff, right? So we're walking around, and for the record, it's in a park, the city
Yeah,
park.
It's in the city park.
And so it's subject to, what city parks are subject to as far as grounds are concerned. And, there's a lot of things on the ground because tents have
Yeah.
electrical hookups. And so we were...
Lots of trip hazards.
Lots of trip hazards. So we were going through that part of the vendor tents. We weren't anywhere near the carnival stuff. When you look down, because we're looking down trying to navigate, making sure that we're, because it can be uneven. It can be rocky,
absolutely.
whatever. There was like a cluster of electrical cords plugged in between vendor booths.
Yeah.
So we're looking to avoid them. So we swung left to avoid them. And it's still light out because it's August. It's not like now at 5 o'clock.
Right.
It's August.
Because it doesn't even get dark until almost 10.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I stepped, just to the left, and my left foot went down in a hole that was probably no less than 6 inches.
Wow.
It was a huge hole. And I wrenched my ankle, and I went, okay, I'm fine. So we just walked directly back to the chairs and sat. And the whole time I'm thinking, I'm fine. It's probably fine. It's going to be fine.
Oh.
And by the time Daddy played, and I didn't get up anymore, I just sat there. By the time Daddy got up and we left, trying to navigate from where we were to the car, which isn't a very far distance, it was excruciating.
Oh, my goodness.
My ankle was like I'd swallowed a basketball and it went straight to my
To your ankle.
And I've got, there's a lot on me that's not thin and little, but my ankles are little. And so this thing is like massive. So we get home and I'm icing it. And that was on August 23rd. And of course, because it's me, I'm like, I'm fine. It'll be fine. I'll just ice it. It'll be fine. And probably about not even quite a week later, I was like, okay, this is not fine. Something is really wrong. So went to the bone and joint walk-in clinic in Springfield because they've got a walk-in orthopedist. Went there. It was so swollen. The x-rays they did there, they thought it was fractured, but because the x-rays were so cloudy and bad from the edema, they wanted me to come back in a week. put me in one of those fun little rolly
balloon
walking
cast.
boots. Yeah, to where you're walking like this. Did that. Came in a week later or 2 weeks later for x-rays again as the swelling was supposed to go down. And no break. And he wanted me to start doing physical therapy, take the boot off, start walking. And I'm like, it's still so fat and swollen. Fabric can't even touch it. If something touches it, I'm like passing out and throwing up. So take your pick. If you
Right.
want to manipulate the ankle and look at it,
Wow.
you better get a trash bag. So that was on a Tuesday when he wanted me to start using it. And I was like, no, that's not what we're doing. There's something wrong, which, listen, I know my body.
Right.
People that, in that, I love doctors. They all have a place. And I'm not saying this one was unknowing, but I know my body. So 2 days later, we did an MRI. That MRI revealed that there were 4 torn ligaments.
Oh, boy.
All 3 of the 4 were grade 2, which a grade 3 is a rupture. So that was torn, like
Right,
torn,
right.
significantly torn. And I kept telling him that there's something that was going like up the side of my calf. It was just horrific, brutal pain, like a hot knife had just gone into the side of
Wow.
my leg, just constant. When he called, his office called to tell me, go to physical therapy and let's, you need to start using it. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Can you explain to me this MRI? Because the MRI, it didn't say the grading of the tear. It said significant tear. And so I wanted to know, okay, significant. Does that mean it's ruptured? Does that mean, is it a grade
Right.
1, grade 2? What
Does this mean?
And the poor little gal, she couldn't assist. She's like, well, I'll have him call you. Perfect. Thank you. That'd be great. So he calls and, I'm a very analytical person, shocking. And so on the MRI readout, there's 2 pages of the findings, right? Well, he starts on the second page with the lowest tear, and which is insignificant to me, which I'm like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Which, mind you, 2 days ago, he had said in his report that the edema was gone, completely gone. The MRI 2 days later says significant edema. So I'm like
Which is
conflicted.
it?
What is going on?
Right.
What, who do I believe? What do I
Right.
do? I believe my lying eyes, reading the MRI report? What do I believe?
Right.
And so when I'm asking him these questions and inquiring, no, it's a grade 2, and that's why we put you in the boot and told you not to walk on it. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. 3 days ago, you wanted me out of the boot and you wanted me to start physical therapy and walking on it. Now you're saying I was not supposed to be. No, you weren't supposed to be weight bearing on it at all.
Same doctor?
Yeah. Yep. Same doctor. And I went, how can I not be weight bearing?
Yikes.
Well, you've got crutches at home, don't you? I'm going to go with no for 200. I've never injured myself before. Why would I just have medical equipment lying around my house? You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, I'm thinking it's a Laurel and Hardy comedy act here. And I'm like,
Sorry, I'm giggling at this answer,
it's
no
funny.
for 200. Sorry.
Thanks, Alex. So, I'll put an order in. And my brain immediately was like, okay, second opinion. Something is going on. I'm not getting an effective answer. I'm at an age that I don't want to do additional damage.
Right.
So I want to know
Yep.
what
Yes.
absolutely is going on, what the best course of action is going to be for this specific injury.
Right.
I'm not generic. Thank you. I'm not generic. I wanted to go to a physician that I knew of in Branson that their office has stellar patient reviews. They're great
Sure.
surgeons. The one that I wanted had retired, so I was going to see a colleague. But then whenever I explained to them that I wanted a second opinion because they were in the same hospital network as the physician I had seen before, they refused to see me because they weren't going to
Go
counter
against.
any findings or any diagnoses or whatever that this other doctor did. So thankfully, the type of insurance that Toby and I have, we have that Christian health care. When Obamacare came out, I was like, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be in the system. I will pay the fine. I don't care. I have the choice of going where I want to go.
Right.
So we sought a second opinion. It took weeks to get in, which I was fine with because I didn't want to do additional damage. And the first doctor even refused to show me my radiology, didn't show me the MRI, none of that, which I paid for it. Why can't I see it? But the second doctor, he's been doing surgery for over 20 years, so I felt really good. And he specializes in ankles, so I felt really good about that. And so he showed us the MRI. There, unbeknownst to everybody in the world except for me, there was peroneal nerve damage because I kept saying, with these kinds of injuries, because of course we're all Dr. Google, right?
Yeah.
I'm going down the rabbit hole of every NIH and every orthopedic, white paper that's out there on this specific injury. It was just frustrating, but yeah, there is the nerve damage was there. The ligaments were torn. They transitioned me into a softer boot to start working slowly on walking on it. And then they put an order of physical therapy in which I was going to do water therapy. Great, fine. The office was supposed to call me like the day after to schedule the therapy. Didn't hear from him. 2 days go by, didn't hear from him. 3 days go by, didn't hear from him. So on the Friday of that week, I thought, okay, I'm going to call.
Sure.
Give me your paycheck. Let me do your job. So I call to get scheduled, and she's like, well, the order's been put in incorrectly. The order's not even right. So, and it's, I'm not saying the doctor did anything wrong. The way that the electronic medical records are now, most physicians don't do any of their charting anymore. They have scribes. Scribes can make mistakes.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand. No big deal. So the order had been put in wrong. By the time they got the order fixed and I called to get into therapy, it was going to be 5 or 6 weeks before they could get me in. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this myself. It's fine. So I start researching everything you can to research. My husband and I, for our anniversary, got a VRBO in Branson, and it had a swim spa in it because I know aquatic therapy for this specific type of injury is the best for low impact, but, more efficient and faster results. So we started doing that when we went away for a few days. And those 3 days that we were gone, I was probably in that spa 3 to 4 hours a day.
Wow.
Just trying, because I'm like, it's a captive audience, I'm not at work. I have the swim spa. Let's do this.
Let's do it while I have availability.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then when we came back from our little getaway, there's a girl that we go to church with that has a spa here in town, and she specializes in certain types of like muscular issues. And so she does massages, and she's got equipment like red light therapy and ultrasound therapy and cryotherapy. So I started doing that, and you guys can probably, I'm walking the warehouse now instead of using my knee scooter, which our warehouse is like 20,000 square feet. So from my office to the bathroom, it's a haul. It was a haul,
It's a pretty long way.
And get a ride.
Yes, absolutely.
But no, since doing the treatment with Heather, that has been exponentially, I think, making major strides forward in the healing of it. And so I'll start some more aquatic therapy too this week. I'm going to her 3 days a week. So it's just been interesting. And my poor husband, bless his heart, for weeks on end, he was having to literally wait on me hand and foot because I get home, foot in the air, because the swelling was so bad and the pain was so bad. It's just like, get off of it.
We had some nerve damage, is what made the pain so severe for so
it's
long.
horrible.
Still, I know
It's
you're
still
having a bit of
super
trouble
tender,
with that.
super tender. But man, it's leaps and bounds. And after we record here, I've got a therapy session again for more ultratherapy or ultrasound and cryotherapy. So,
And that nerve damage can surely,
oh man,
knock you back a few.
man, it messes with you. And you think, because I mean, I don't know if you know this about me. I'm slightly stubborn. I know you're shocked. You just, I know, right? You think this is ridiculous. I was a dancer for all my years growing up, very athletic, never had injuries, never tore any, I've never broken anything. So it was like, what in the world is going on? Why this is not advancing any quicker than it has. But apparently I needed to learn some things. Thank you, Holy Ghost. But anyway,
Have to slow down sometimes.
I unfortunately didn't have an option to slow down. And the funny thing is my small person used to be my tiny human. Now she's my small person because she's getting so darn long-legged. It had been weeks because I have her every other week, on a day when school's closed.
Yeah.
She's in 3rd grade, and it had been weeks since we'd done anything. She'd just come to Mama's house. We'd watch movies, whatever, and, Mama's in the air, and she's helping me do things. So when we finally got to get out the first time, she went, "It's been a really long time since we've had an adventure, Mama." Yes, it has. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Because we like to go to we like to go to the city where the beautiful things are, she says.
Oh,
So
cute.
yeah.
Yeah, she is your clone, basically.
She's a lot of her mom, but a whole lot of me. A whole lot of me. She gets my shoes in the wheel and handbags. So.
Oh, there you go. Make sure you pencil that
part in. But that's what I've been up to. And it's consumed quite a bit. I'd come into the office and just tell everybody, "Love you, mean it. If you need me, come see me. I can't come to you."
Right.
And now I can actually kind of get around. So it's kind of refreshing because when I need something and I want to get it off my to-do. Mm-hmm. And so I text people and I'd have to wait because they're busy doing stuff. And I'm like,
or they have to finish or go get it or whatever.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's been
fun. See where that would be
pretty
really
tricky
tough for you to have to wait on other people.
Yeah, she's not that type
go-getter.
of person.
No, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
That helps,
learning a
right?
few things, yeah. What have you girls been up to?
You want to go, Mom?
How about you first?
Me first. Oh, well, the last 18 months have been really hard for all of us. My kids switched schools that I didn't see coming, so we were blindsided by that.
Yeah.
When they were just first starting last year, so not this school season, but last school season.
Yeah.
And then my Nita started a new dance studio. So everybody was kind of, in upheaval and kind of weirdness and things like that. And then we found them a new school. So it was like all this stuff happening all at once.
Yeah.
Yes, all this transitioning happening at once. And then we lost Dad. And so then that added a whole nother layer of everything to the household, and the kids are grieving.
Yeah.
And so, it's just different with that too.
Sure.
And then my son, Thomas, he has been having a really hard time at this new school. But it's one of those things, we don't always just pull kids out for willy-nilly stuff, if that makes sense. We try to kind of work with it and also try to start teaching them too that, hey, life is not always going to be really easy. Sometimes there will be difficult people in the workplace, in your life, all the time there will be issues that you have to work through. So we were trying to kind of work through with a lot of that with him, but we didn't realize the fullness of what was going on and the extent of it. And then it's kind of like with us adults, sometimes you don't realize how stressed out you are until you get past that season. Yeah. And then you're like, oh my goodness, I don't have as much stress now as I did a few months ago. So things came to a head and we had to pull Thomas out of school. So now we do have kids in 2 different schools. These 2 are over here and then Thomas is over here. So that's been with the schedules and things like that. That's made things dropping off and picking up so much trickier. So I take one batch of the kids over here and then Joe takes Thomas to his school and things like that. So it's...
And vice versa.
Yes, depending. And then Kate is old enough to drive and stuff now too. So sometimes she gets, hey, Kate, can you go pick up this set of kids, or can you pick up
the
Thomas?
Katie cab.
Yes, exactly. So it's been interesting on that, but we've noticed a huge difference in him just emotionally. It's very strange because I think with the loss of his grandpa, he's still kind of figuring out a whole bunch of stuff. So I think right now with the stress that he was under, now that he's not under that stress, now he's starting to process other things. So like his emotions are such at a heightened stage right now, very sensitive. Like we were having storms last night and he was literally sobbing
Oh, no.
because he was so scared. So
Him.
pray for me. I need mama strength right now
Yeah.
for him to deal with everything that he has going on. But he's like, everything is like super
Yeah.
heightened for him. So it's really interesting, the
Yeah.
seasons that you go through.
Sure.
The other girls are, having difficulty too with everything going on with losing grandpa and then school and just, life gets hard, but seasons, everything comes in seasons, you
Yeah.
know.
It's
Yeah.
So hopefully we're getting to the end of some of those more stressful seasons, and
Yeah.
hopefully we'll be coming through on the other side now, and things will start slowing down and getting back to a little bit more of a normalcy,
Yeah.
if that's
Right.
a thing.
Was it that they said around COVID, I'm ready for precedented times instead of unprecedented?
No kidding.
I'm ready for precedented.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah,
back
but
to
it just
normal.
seems, everything has been very stressful.
Sure.
With running the ministry,
Yeah.
making sure we have episodes for you guys to watch, with life in general,
Yeah.
taking over for Tom.
Yeah.
Joe, he's been having to step in and take a lot of his dad's stuff that he used to do. So that's been tricky too. And,
Right.
just juggling everything. It's been
Yeah.
really hard.
Yeah.
Again, we always say we'll be real on this show, and that's just what's been happening
Oh,
for us.
absolutely.
So this season has been really, really hard for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. The transition, ministry-wise and administration-wise, I know we've been doing a lot of that, you and I.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's
Extremely a
it's
lot.
been very challenging. We're in fourth quarter finally, and we have learned so much in the past year of what do we move, what lever do we pull, where
Right.
do we pivot. So,
Right.
Yeah.
it's been a big transition.
There have been so many layers of things that I have had to deal with
Uh-huh.
just personally,
And learn.
and watch what you're talking about with Thomas and
Yeah.
Yeah.
and understanding that these little kids, they for the first time have seen death up close.
Right,
Yes.
Right.
This is their first time to see somebody that's there every day,
Mhm.
Right.
not there now,
Yeah.
Right.
and they don't understand how can that happen.
Right. Well,
How can it
especially
be?
with Thomas, because he's so
Yes.
young. The older ones, they understand it a little bit more, but
Right.
for Thomas, he's so young that it's been very tricky for him.
Yeah, he was connected to his papa that was the world,
Right.
and his world disappeared.
Yeah.
That part of his
Sure.
world.
Right.
Obviously, his real world is his mom and dad and the siblings, but the extended world, which would be me and Papa, he now sees me by myself.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's gotten pretty protective over me. I want to tell you, that was just so cute to see that happening out of a child so young.
Yeah.
He got real
Instinctually.
protective of me right away. Wants
Yeah.
me to come over a lot.
Yeah.
Wants to make sure I'm okay. Am I eating food? He wants to.
That's so sweet.
Really cute. But on so many levels, Charisse, you're right. There's not enough time to cover
Oh,
the
yeah.
amount of what
Navigation.
just between
Yeah.
businesses,
Right.
between Skywatch and Defender and
Yep.
and all of the other entities, the ranch,
The ranch.
and even being there as a support consultant for Eden's.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just the patriarch of this whole adventure in life,
Right.
just not there.
Well,
I mean,
that
instantly changed life forever.
it did. Well, and with taking over with Tom's passing, everybody's responsibilities, switched, because you don't always
Yes.
see what somebody else does.
Oh my
Right.
gosh.
But it's different for
Right.
us too, because we were all
Yeah.
doing ministry together and running businesses and companies,
Mm-hmm.
and like even with Whispering Ponies not being able to have summer camps this year because we didn't have insurance, and we're still working on that.
Yeah.
The season is weird.
For me to target one particular thing to have to think about and to talk about is kind of difficult.
Sure.
Mhm.
And I don't know that I could hone in on any one thing
No,
at the
right.
moment.
There's so many.
But
Yeah.
I guess I would, if I had to say one thing, I will tell you that this came to me the other day, and it really, there's been a couple times when I know that the Lord has given me a word to strengthen me and to give me
Yeah.
comfort for my future.
Yeah.
Because I'm alive, I'm still breathing.
Right.
But the other day, one of my friends had told me that they felt sorry because they felt my future had been stolen from me, because I should be out on the road doing the Route 66, because Tom and I had planned
Yeah.
to do Route 66 and stop at every little roadside and see the big ball of yarn. You've heard us joke about
Oh,
that
yeah,
before.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that never happened. And I'm sitting here thinking, I can look at it one of two ways, and this is where I'm thankful that God gave me a different answer.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I were to think that my future was stolen, that's
Right.
not a happy thought, for
Right,
sure.
right.
No.
Makes me feel like, okay, well, I'm done.
Right.
Take me home, Lord,
Right, right.
Bury me in the backyard.
Right.
That's what Tom's mom used to always say when she would get discouraged, so I'm laughing at that whole stuff. But God, out of the blue, came and said to me, no, your future has not been stolen. It has been altered.
Right.
I have a plan.
Amen.
You
Absolutely.
just have to trust me.
That's right.
And that is exactly what he spoke to me the week when we were having difficulties when Tom passed.
Mm-hmm.
He kept telling me just to trust him.
Right.
Just trust. That's a hard thing to do.
It
It
is.
Especially when you know your whole life, your
Yeah.
man,
whole
the guy
world.
that you just your whole
Yeah.
life is built around this relationship of 48 years.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have that now. So God is giving me what he said, an alternate future. So now I'm starting to look at life and go, okay, well, I'm still breathing. So then I have purpose.
Right.
So
Well, and we
Lord,
say that on the show all the time. You
Yes.
are called, you
Right.
have purpose, you,
Yep.
no matter what your age,
Yeah.
whether you're really young
Yeah.
or whether you're older, you still have a purpose and you
Yeah.
have God's call on your life.
Yeah.
You can still do whatever.
And
Yeah.
he's proving to you too that he's making his mercies new every single day.
Absolutely.
And tomorrow's
Yes.
got enough troubles of its own. Let's
Yes.
deal with today. And we've really been
Yes.
doing a lot of
Yes,
navigating
we have.
today.
We have had to
Yeah.
stay in today because
Just-
you don't
Yeah.
have time for tomorrow
That's
yet.
right. Yeah.
Right.
And,
Get
and it'll
through today.
change anyway. So
No,
Give it 5 minutes.
No, and I love that you said that. I love that you said that. Because that is exactly what I do. And every night I go, okay, I got through today, Lord.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I will wake up tomorrow because he told me that too.
Yeah.
But a little tidbit just for to end on a happy note. I don't know where this is going, but it keeps coming back to my mind and resonating in me, and I can't know yet because I don't know what that alternate
Right,
future
right.
means. I'm still kind of dealing with what you said today, and God has given me a specific marching order for today,
Right.
Right.
and it's very, very hard to talk about, but I know I'm not through it yet. God is working some situations out right now, and whenever he gets me to the end of those, then I think he'll give me my next phase of whatever that means. But I want to tell you something that before Tom passed away, he and I, in our retirement, were going to start a podcast. In fact, we had just purchased all the equipment to do this, and we were going to call it Going Up Swinging.
Mm.
And that title came out of the many things that Tom and I had worked through
Right.
in all of our life together.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to talk about all the things that God had helped us to accomplish because he had put it before us. And
Yeah.
there's always challenges,
Right.
Right.
but we just kept doing it and kept following and we kept pursuing that.
Yeah.
And I had said to him, we're just going to go up swinging. And when I said that to him, he thought that was such a good idea. So we were going to call our little podcast Going Up Swinging.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that we were going to be out there taking on fights of the enemy and,
Right.
Right.
bring it on, Satan. Not at all. It was going to be more like talking about the things of life that you
The
overcome.
goodness
Right.
of the Lord.
The
and what
goodness
he's
of the
brought
Lord,
you
his
through.
mercies,
Yeah.
his faithfulness.
Well, never giving up.
and never
Yeah,
giving
just
up.
pursuing.
Perseverance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And trust me, little did I know
Right.
this would be the year
Right.
me.
Right.
to really get that figured out,
Yeah.
some way. So I'm not saying I have arrived at all, and I'm not even sure that that's going to be a part of my future, but I will tell you, I do have an alternate future, and if there are people out there that are feeling the similar
Yeah.
absolute carpet pulled out from underneath your feet, and you flat out don't know what life is about because you don't got that other half, male or female,
Right.
whatever your loss is,
Yeah.
whoever your loss is, go back to God.
Mm-hmm.
Lean into God.
Yeah.
Give your life to God.
Yeah. Trust.
He will show you things you've never seen. He will take you to depths you've not ever experienced, and he will give you an alternate plan.
Mhm.
And he will give you the comfort that you will see
Yeah.
your loved one again.
Yeah.
Right.
And I just know that Tom is aware and happy. How could you be in heaven and not?
Right.
I know that he's happy and very proud, and that so much means a lot to me.
Mhm.
To think that my husband would be proud of me
Yeah.
and my
Right.
family for what we're doing in his absence.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
that's,
He's cheering you on from the other side.
he is.
For sure.
He is. And that's what I would share today.
Right. So
That's good.
seasons of life.
It's a different season.
Yeah.
I would never wanted to have choose this.
Yeah, no.
I would never choose this.
Yeah.
But if God has it for me, I will embrace it and say, what next, Lord?
Yeah.
Right. Well, and God sees us through no matter what, even with difficulties with kids or situations, even with work or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever you're going through, God sees you.
Oh, absolutely.
And He will be there to carry you through. And you might not see it now
Right.
because the storm is so
it's
thick
raging, yeah.
that you can't see through the clouds. But just know that God is still there.
Oh,
He's
absolutely.
still with you, and He will see you through. So that's why we wanted to do this
Right.
little bit of a
Yeah.
life update, because life is hard. Life is messy. It's not simple sometimes, but we're here to tell you that even though we're in weird seasons of life and we feel like we can't see the end of the tunnel, we still feel God's presence. And we know that a
Absolutely.
lot of you have even prayed for us and
Yeah.
have held us up. And we so appreciate that
Absolutely.
through this
Absolutely.
That's
this
critical.
difficult
Absolutely.
time. But
That
we've
is
felt
critical.
that. And there are people out there praying for you as well, depending on what your situation is. You may not even know them, but I know that there are people out there praying for you.
Yeah.
So just take heart. The season will end at some point. The
Yeah.
Bible is clear on that. There's so many different seasons of life that we all walk through, but know that God sees you and He's there to carry you through. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. We
Yes,
pray
we
for
do.
you.
For
Thank
sure.
you so much for your prayers.
That's huge.
Absolutely. We love each and every one of you. And so thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you next week in the Simply His Coffee Shop.